Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say welcome once again to the Lenny Robbins YouTube show. Let's know your politics. Let's come together to create a better understanding by listening and watching to what our politicians do and say, because as I said before, our existence are the ones that is that questioned. Our existence is the one that is threatened, not those of the politician, not that of the politician. Their existence is never questioned. Their existence is never threatened. You understand? Because they always have the resources to get over and live a good quality life. But where are we in all of this? We're struggling to keep our heads above the water. Now I'm here this morning because I want to jump onto something that I haven't heard anyone talked about in Jamaica for quite some time. I'm listening to all of the bloggers and all of the supporters of both political parties, PNP, JLP, but I heard no one say anything about that. And I know the Prime Minister made some good speeches about it on the campaign trail. So too did Mark Golding. They said a lot of good things about it. But as I said, what is always said on campaign is just a campaign promise. It's not a reality in any way whatsoever. And for me, when it comes to politicians, I don't believe nothing from a politician that I see it, until I see it happens. When it happens, then I say, oh yes, that is factual. Now, what I want to address here is crimes and crime fighting in Jamaica. Now, Mr. Prime Minister, you made a speech during the campaign, in the last general election campaign, sir, and as I said, the PNP did the same thing too. And you talked about it that no country can develop with a high crime rate because, it impacts investment, it impacts social infrastructure, it impacts the growth and development of the economy, and it generally impacts people's quality of life. Mark Golding alluded to the same thing too, if should they become the governing party. But what I see happening, Mr. Prime Minister, because I can't address this with Mark Golding now, I have to put the JLP under the spotlight now. What I see happening, because you've been there for the past, since 2015, 2016. So what you have done so far, sir, is questionable. As far as I'm concerned, it's questionable because what I'm seeing happening on the ground, the police is given certain autonomy when it comes to crime fighting. But as I am noticed, and I hope that your government is noticing that, especially you, Mr. Prime Minister, and the Minister of National Security, inclusive of the Commissioner of Police and the Brigadier of the Army. I hope you guys are noticing this. The citizens are not afraid again to challenge police. Let me repeat this. Citizens are not afraid to challenge the police. If a police grabs the man is not afraid to grab back that police. Even when in uniform. You're not afraid. The people are not afraid. Whatever the police do to you physically, people are not afraid to do it. People are not afraid to curse out the police in the most derogatory way, and the police is not afraid to curse out people in the most derogatory way. But let me ask the nation a question here. We're all Jamaicans. Let me ask us all a question. Is this something we want to allow to continue? Or should we ask our government to change direction with the way they atomize the police and bring out more respect and trust and confidence in what they are doing as government, what the police is doing, and what we the citizens see from them? Isn't it time we start to ask that whatever is happening must be so done that citizens can now begin to have trust and confidence in the police in a comprehensive way? I'm saying this to police, because no doctors, no nurse, no teachers, no street cleaners, no engineer, no none of these persons are out there fighting crime. This is not a matter of putting down the police. I want people to understand this because I know a lot of people will come at me for this. This is not a matter of putting down the police. This is a matter of the police is the one out there fighting crime. And we all know from studies, because there are empirical evidence out there to support this fact. Police cannot shoot their way out of crime. You cannot arrest your way out of crime. And it can happen because that one solution cannot fix a crime problem in any country. Many countries have tried it and failed over years. Small, big, medium-sized, many powerful economies have tried it and failed miserably. It's not going to work, and it cannot work. So I'm looking at the autonomy the police have to get rid of the gunmen. And that's fine. But how effective is it? People say, oh yeah, shoot them out and kill them and take with them gun. That's fine. And that's good. That's enough. We don't want nothing more. But guess what, my friends? Just ask yourself the question, what is government doing on the other side of the fence? Police is given the autonomy to do what they have to do to get rid of gunmen. But what is police doing? Just to prevent that kind of action in 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. The point I'm making is, police are now killing out the modern day, present day gunmen. That's okay, kill them out. But by extension, we're also killing out the next generation even before they matured. Adult enough to recognize certain things, are old enough to recognize certain things. And the reason I raise this question is because government has no social infrastructure in place to guide the youths of the future. Government has put no social infrastructure in place to help prevent the youth from turning to an unconventional way of living, to prevent them from getting into violence, to prevent them from joining become gang members or gang leaders, to prevent them from becoming scammers, to prevent them from becoming drug dealers. There's nothing in place for that. Meanwhile, you're killing out a generation and not preparing for the next one. I hope people will see where I'm coming from with this. The country cannot survive this way. And as both party leaders talk about investment and growth and the effect of crime and violence on the country, yes, crime and violence will affect you in a big way, sir. Can stagnate your economy. But I notice during the election campaign, even though both parties campaign strongly on this issue, no focus is given to it. Corruption. You cannot autonomize the police or give the police the autonomy to do certain things, yet turn a blind eye to corruption. No, Mr. Prime Minister. No, Mr. Minister of National Security. No, Mr. Commissioner of Police. No, Mr. Brigadier. Corruption cannot succeed alone. You can't fight corruption alone. You cannot fight crime alone. You have to fight both things collectively. Because corruption breeds crime and crime breeds corruption. Both has to be tackled at the same time, the same intensity. And this is what I see happening in the country, because here's another thing people are overlooking, ladies and gentlemen. And if I'm wrong, I want people to tell me straight up. Comment on this program and tell me that I am wrong with what I'm saying and I don't know what I'm talking about. Some of the very police who are out there shooting some of these gunmen, they are shooting them over some of the very things they themselves are doing. Police are killing gunmen. Yes, that's your job. If them challenge you, kill him. But you're killing him for the very same thing that you are doing. And ladies and gentlemen, let us not take citizens' reaction lightly. Let us not take citizens' reaction lightly. Because if we continue to overlook citizens' reaction in these kind of situations, what it means and what we're doing is empowering citizens to get bolder, braver, and more upfront, more challenging to the police on the street. And that's not the kind of society we want. What we want is a society where police, even though, according to the commissioner, you are not trained to lose, you should be trained to win within the parameters of the law. You should be trained to win within the parameters of the law. So when someone is gunned down, you don't have to manufacture evidence. When someone is killed by the police, you don't have to create a story that didn't exist. When someone is killed by the police, you don't have to cover up anything. Or try to. That's the kind of autonomy we're looking for the government to give to the police. Shoot them if you have to shoot them, but at the same time, make sure that you're operating within the parameters of the law. We can't afford for Jamaica to become a police state because from what I see happening right now, it's fast becoming a police state. You know what? Let me retract that. Slowly, it is becoming a police state. And we don't want to get there. Because with what Melissa has done to Jamaica, if the country become a police state, I'm telling you, that devastation can be worse than what Melissa has done to the country. Because Melissa would have done some physical damage to the country. Now we become a police state. It will become, that devastation will be a socio-economic one. Which is worse to recover from than the devastation caused by Melissa. So to you, Mr. Prime Minister, I would ask you, sir, to focus on what you promised during your campaign speech. Like I said, I'm the watch what they do person. I don't forget when people talk. And I will forever hold you and your government to whatever promise you make on the campaign trail, sir. I will forever hold you to it. Because I believe if you can't do something after you promise it, you're the leader of the nation. And if you promise the nation something and cannot fulfill it, it is your duty to come back to the nation and say, we cannot achieve this because so-and-so is the situation. But don't move on as if things is normal and people should forget what you said and that's okay. That's when people don't trust government. That's when people don't trust you, Mr. Holness. That's when people won't trust your administration. Because you have an obligation to talk to the people. As you said, you will be the most transparent government there is, most accountable, most responsible, and most truthful and honest government there is. So now is the time to begin to show it. And this is not about bashing you, Mr. Andrew Holness. This is about bashing political and politicians' promises. Because Mark Golan said they hold the same thing to on campaign trail, but I can't hold their foot to the fire because they are not in power. You and your government and party is what is in power now. So we have to put you to the test, sir, to be transparent and be honest and fair and accountable and be responsible for the governance and the affairs of the country and to the people of the country most of all. And you really need to stop and take a look at what is happening on the police ground, sir. really need to take a stop and look, take a stock of what is happening on the ground and the way police are activating. Just notice the slight uptick. Just notice the uptick in their action. Less and less regard for people. Less and less regard for people. Less and less respect for people. And the more killing is the less regard for life. Mr. Prime Minister, you owe the country to reduce crime. But at the same time, sir, you owe the country to get in place a social infrastructure that will help to move the youths from that kind of life to a different, from that unconventional way of life to what we call, what is scientifically known as the conventional way of living. To help them get there. You owe the country that too. You just don't owe the country to throw the police out there to just kill people alone. You don't owe the country that. Even though that's a part of your plan, your crime fighting plan. But you owe the country far more than that, sir. So let me ask you something, sir. If this continue and there's nothing put in place to divert the youths, or divert youths who want to go down that road to something else, if there's nothing in place for that, what's going to happen to the next generation of youths coming up? And check your last census there. Check the last census. Get a census done when you can. And look at the ratio in Jamaica of women to man, of women to men. Look at that ratio. You keep killing men for the next 5-10 years. What do you think the ratio is going to do? Up or down? We have to help men, Mr. Holness. We have to help men. I can understand, so that historically the world wasn't built around. When laws now start to get modernized and all of these things, there was nothing in it for us men. There was nothing in the law for us men. And one example of that is in domestic violence. Look at how domestic violence issues are treated. Even when the woman is the aggressor, the man, and the man is the victim, it's the man the law deals with, not the woman. So understand how we get culturalized to marginalize men when it comes to certain things. But we still have to be very careful and try to balance the scales. So we not just only kill out a generation of men, but we try to save the next generation. In the same breath, we have to try to save them. And that is what is lacking so far, Mr. Prime Minister. Nothing is put in place to save the next generation coming up. Now I ask this question, sir, and I've said it, I have asked it many, many times. We don't manufacture guns and ammunition in Jamaica. No, we don't. But looking back in the last 2 decades, I asked myself this question. How many guns? Can the government give an account of how many guns come into the country over the last, as the inflows of how many guns, both legal and illegal guns, and ammunition into the country over the last two decades? Let us look at how many police shootings took place in the last 20 years. Let us look at how many police shootings resulted in death in the last 20 years. Let us look at how many guns recovered from those shootings in the last 20 years. And let us look at the overall picture of how many guns police recovered in the last 20 years and see where we are. Ask yourself the question with all these information, sir. Are we on the right track to reduce crime in Jamaica? Are we on the right track to reducing crime in Jamaica? And I'm sure you'll be alarmed at the result, Mr. Prime Minister. I'm sure your think tank will be alarmed at the result. And I'm sure one of the big results that will dawn upon every one of us in this country, if that information is published, is a killing. We can't kill our way out of crime. We can't arrest our way out of crime solely. We have to be able to put the kind of social infrastructure in place to help move people. We have to put the kind of training in place to help change people. We have to make certain levels of education affordable to people, to move people into something else. We have to make the availability of job opportunities more accessible to a lot more people, to move people away. There's a lot of things that has to be done, Mr. Prime Minister, to fight crime. A lot of things. It's not just a policing thing alone. Because the empirical evidence is out there to suggest that fighting crime is not just a policing thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I could go on forever. As I said, I have 2 more videos to put up on this Melissa thing, and I intend to do that as early as I can. Sorry about that. But, you know, this thought came to me. I was going over the Gleaner this morning. This thought came to me about the crime fighting techniques in Jamaica and what it can lead to. And I hope I've kind of throw some 2-piece common sense wood on the fire to open the eyes of our own people, Jamaica and a whole, for us to see exactly what is happening around us and realize that, listen, if we're going to survive this country, if we're going to survive, we have to survive as a nation, as one people. If we're going to survive and live in a democratic society, we have to survive. And no democracy can grow without togetherness. No economy is going to survive without us living together, without us people coming together to make it happen. No civilization, no society exists without togetherness. None. It is up to us to make it happen, Jamaica. Irrespective of what we are going through right now and what is ahead of us, we can't see. We have to come together. And this is an example from Melissa. Like I said, I have 2 more videos than that to put out. This is an example Melissa's left for us, that we need to come together as a people for our own, to secure our own future. We have no idea, no foresight as to what is coming, but yet there can be greater devastation than what we are now facing. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your time. Ladies, and once again, welcome to the Lenny Robbins YouTube channel, Know Your Politics. And I'm always going to say this: let's come together to create a better understanding for each other, because there are people out there who think they know it all. I know I don't know it all. And like I said, I'm just here to make common sense of it. But we have to watch and listen to what our politicians say and do, because our existence are questioned. It is our existence that is threatened, not the politicians. And not the people who have their money and all of them something. You understand? And Bujo, I don't hear you to apply. You apologize to the nation and call, and all them people you say thief you think. I don't hear you call them. I don't hear you say anything about asking for forgiveness or sorry for calling them drunk and all of these things. You understand? And a plastic bag, scandal bag, people should get things in and all them something there. That's very disrespectful of you, as a man who say you was a well-trained man. I understand you get a master's degree while you were doing your incarceration and all of that. That's fine. And you should use the knowledge, brother, to educate people and uplift people. You shouldn't use the knowledge under no circumstances to put down people, because here's the thing now. None of us can throw a stone because we all live in a glass house. None of us. So blessed love same way to you, Boji, but you owe the nation an apology. A human being like myself, nah disrespect you, but you owe us an apology. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lenny Roberts YouTube channel. Once again, over and out.